new subjects in discussing the topic nominalization nominalization of adjectives. So I think that in our primary school, in our secondary school, our junior secondary precisely, we've talked about parts of speech, right? We have nouns, we have verbs, we have adjectives, we have adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, and I want to believe that you understand what all of these are, right? Good, correct. So today we'll be looking at the topic nominalization of adjectives. I want to ask a question. In your class or in your school, have you ever heard the statement or the phrase nominal rule? That statement before. Okay, so can you tell me what that means? When names are written, okay, good. So that means that when we're talking about nominalization, we're talking about names, right? Very good. So when we're talking about nominalization, we're talking about giving names to things or attaching names to objects, persons, and so on and so on. Now, in this context, we're looking at nominalization of adjectives. Now, what's the first question that will come to your mind? We've talked about what nominalization is, the process of giving names, right? Nominal name means giving a name to someone or to something. Now, we're looking at what adjectives are. An adjective is a word that is used to describe a noun. So, in other words, adjectives are descriptive words, right? Good. So, when you see a woman walking down your street and you want to describe her looks or what she's wearing, you look out for something very spectacular that you can use to do with attach importance to whatever she's wearing that you can use in describing the person. That is what I mean. Remember, I said that adjectives are descriptive words. They are words that are used to describe a noun. Let me give you another example again before I show you what I have. And let me give another example. Mommy comes back from the market and she asks you, Tolu, could you please get me my bag? And you get into mommy's room and you discover that mommy has so many bags. What will be the next question you would ask? Very good. Which bag, right? Correct. Because you need to be told the bag so you can get the right bag. True or false? True. Very good. I like your response. Now, good. So when you meet mommy or you go back to mommy in the kitchen and you say, Mommy, you said I should get the bag for you. But you have so many bags. So which bag in particular do you want me to bring for you? And then mommy says, can you get me the red bag? Or can you get me the bag beside my bed? Or can you get me the bag that I bought from Mrs. Amaka the other day? Hello. Now, what is mommy trying to do? Mommy is only trying to do what? Describe the bag she's talking about. Good job. Now, so when we're talking about nominalization of adjectives, it is the process of doing what? Changing. In fact, when we talk about nominalization in English language, it is a process of changing other words that are not nouns to become nouns. Do I take that again? Good, so I'll do that. Now, we're talking about, excuse me, when we're talking about nominalization, as it has to do with the English language, we're looking at a process of accepting, a process of changing other word classes to become what? Nouns. Okay. For example, when you go to the markets and you go to a bookshop, and you see lots of books, novels, there. Just by you seeing those things in the market, is it yours already? Are they yours already? Of course not. What makes you claim ownership over them? What would make you claim ownership over them? Paying for them, right? Correct. So the moment you give money in exchange of those goods, they become yours, right? And then we can now say, this pen is to lose pen, or this is to lose book. Or this is Tolu's dictionary. Correct. So that is exactly the scenario I'm trying to make you understand when we're talking about nominalization of adjectives. So it is a process by which we have to do change, accept other word classes into the noun class, and they automatically become nouns. So just give me a moment while I share my screen with you, and then we'll continue from there. Are you with me? Just a moment, I'm there already. Please do let me know if you can see my screen. Good. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you can see my screen. So now look at it. It said nominalization note. So the said nominalization is a linguistic process in which a word that is not a noun, okay, a word that is not what a noun. That is the emphasis here. A word that is not a noun is a process in which a word that is not a noun is transformed into a noun. So it means that for nominalization to take place, there must be a transformation. There must be a what? A transformation. Good. Now, this often involves converting verbs, adjectives, and other parts of speech into nouns. For example, turning the verb to run into a noun, running, or the adjective beautiful into the noun beauty are instances of nominalization. Now, what are we trying to say in all of this? We just want you to understand, I just want you to understand that nominalization is a process in which a word that is not a noun becomes a noun. And I just mentioned earlier that for that to take place, there must be a transformation. By transformation, we're not looking at probably the word will grow wings or the word will become slimmer, or we're not looking at physical in the physical context, it has to do with the human body, okay? But now we're talking about transformation. It means that there could be some additives, okay, some letters you could add to them. That way, the word is changed. That's what we mean by transformation. The word is changed and then it becomes a noun. Do you understand me? Good. So we have, it said, Arnold says that is a common technique in language to create nouns from other words to express abstract concepts or to make sentences more concise. So simply put, nominalization is a process of turning a verb, an adjective, into a noun. So we have in English language, we have nominalization of adjectives, and then we also have nominalization of verbs. But whichever one we're looking at, or each time you come across any of these topics, just remember that nominalization, once there is nominalization there, it simply means a process where you do what? You transform another word class to become a noun. Is that taken? Very good. So remember we said that what? It is a process of doing what? The process of turning a verb or an adjective into a noun. Good. Now, this linguistic technique is often used to refer to actions, qualities, or concepts as nouns, allowing for clearer communication and a more versatile use of language. Good. So let's go down and see how nouns are being transformed. Okay. Are you with me? Do you have any question? If you have any question, do well to raise your hand so I can talk to you. Okay, so do you have any question? No question at all. That's perfect. So let's move on. Sorry about that. I don't mind my matter. Okay. Now we're looking at verbs into nouns. Please ignore my writings. So they're mistakes. So verbs into nouns. That is what we also mean by nominalization. I mentioned earlier that nominalization is a process of turning verbs or adjectives to become nouns, and that is only possible by transformation. Correct. Good. So verbs can be turned into nouns through nominalization. And how is this possible? It is achieved by adding one suffixes or changing the word form, and or it is also by using word gerunds. Now, let me explain this one after the other. In our primary school, we've talked about suffixes. I don't know if you can still remember. Sometimes you say a prefix and a suffix. Good. So a prefix comes before what? A word. That's why we have pre, right? Just like we have pre-colonial, prenatal. All of those are what it means before. Okay. So we have prefix, that's the word that you fix before the main word, and then suffix, the word that comes, or letters that come at the end of a word. Okay, so in general, prefixes and suffixes are what we refer to as affixes. Just like we're thinking of affixing something, you're attaching something. So they're more. Let me use a non-standard word. They are called attachments. Okay, so affixes are usually attachments. So they can come before a word or they can come after a word. It could be a letter, it could be two letters or group of letters that when you attach them to the base word, it changes its form. Okay. For example, should I give you an example? Okay, great. I will do that. Now, what about the word kind? Oh, this man is so kind. Oh, I'm moved by his kindness. What did you just add to it? NESS. That is a suffix. And so kind in this context is an adjective, right? Good. That the person having a feeling of gentility, empathy and all that. Now, the moment you now talk about kindness, it is now what? A noun. The kind of feeling or reaction a person gives to the other person is now what is termed as what? Kindness. Okay, so that's what we mean by what? Suffixes. Now we now look at the next one, which is the use of gerunds. Hmm. Have you seen some words that end with the ing? For example, the verb run, speak, read. All of those are verbs. Okay, but the moment you attach ing to those words, automatically they become what? Nouns. Running, right? Speaking, right? Reading, all of those becomes what? Nouns, no longer just verbs. That is what we mean by what? Nominalization of verbs. So we have two processes for the nominalization of verbs. One by adding suffixes, and then the other by the use of what? Gerunds. Now look at what we have here. It says suffixes. Verbs can be turned into suffixes, into nouns rather. Verbs can be turned into nouns by adding suffixes. Common suffixes for nominalization of verbs include tion, ment, ment, ance. For example, the verb create becomes creation, develop becomes development, okay? And then communicate becomes communication. And then the sentence that effective communication is essential in a scene. Any question? Do I continue? Good. So just give me a thumbs up or raise your hand if you have any problem at all. You need me to clarify your name. Thank you. Now we have the next one, the verb perform becomes performance. Piano performance was outstanding at the concert. And then, excuse me, and then we'll have the next word, investigate, which becomes investigation. Can you read the sentence there for me? Sentence on example 6. Correct. The police conducted a thorough investigation into the case. Good. Can you write the next word on verse number 7? Contribute. Good. And then when you nominalize, it becomes what? Contribution. Good. Your contribution to the charity made a significant impact. Now, what's the next one? Explore. Can you say that? Can I hear you? Explore. Good. So exploration is the nominalized noun. So the exploration of outer space has always fascinated scientists. Okay. Now the next one I want to look at now is the nominalization of verbs through gerunds. Initially, I mentioned that gerunds are verbs that end with the ing. Now, using gerunds That's verbs ending with the ing or in the ing as nouns is another form of nominalization. For example, the verb teach, when it's nominalized, it becomes what? Teaching. And then can you read the sentence there for me? Teaching requires patience and dedication. The verb drink. Once you change drink to a noun, what does it become? Drinking. Good. A hot cup of coffee is a good way of keeping awake. Do you like taking coffee? Oh, you don't like that? Wow, but I do like taking coffee once in a while anyway. Now we have the next one, which is sing. And then it becomes what? Singing. Her melodious singing, her singing is so melodious. Good. Now we look at the next one shortly before we leave. Nominalization of adjectives. Nominalization of adjectives. Remember, I've mentioned earlier what adjectives are. Adjectives are words that are used to do what describe a noun. So adjectives can also be transformed into nouns by using them to describe a group or a category of people or things. For example, we have the adjective responsible. What do we add to it? You can see that we are adding what? ITY, and it becomes what? Responsibility. Now, the word attached to responsible, is it a suffix or a prefix? Suffix, good job, correct, that's great. So, sentence example says, taking on this project is a big responsibility. Good. And then we'll have the next one, which is generous, generous. And then we add ITY to it, and it becomes generosity. His generosity touched the hearts of many. Creative becomes creativity, available becomes availability, content becomes contentment. Just like the Bible says, godliness with contentment is great gain. Good. Now let's look at it. Why do we make use of nominalization? Have you asked yourself why? Okay, so some of the reasons why we make use of nominalization is one, it makes sentences clearer and more concise. Okay, variety, it adds variety to your writing and allows you to express ideas in different ways. Okay, they decided to investigate the matter thoroughly. That's an example, the original sentence in a layman's language. They decided to investigate the matter thoroughly. Good. Now, what we nominalize, it says that decision to conduct a thorough investigation was wise. Can you see the same sentence but different expressions? And the way you will see it, the way another person will see it, in these two different expressions. But the bottom line in this expression is that there was a decision to do what? Investigate a matter. The original sense is not tampered with, but it is expressed in various ways. That is what we make, one of the reasons why we make use of word nominalization. Good. Now we have the next one, conciseness. It helps us to make sentences in fewer words. It helps us to make sentences in fewer words. For example, the original sentence says, she made a suggestion that we should go on a vacation. She made a suggestion that we should go on a vacation. Okay, let's say we're having a family get together and someone is giving a suggestion. And then we're like, wow, it's long overdue. We need to go and unwind and all that. But someone comes up again and say, her suggestion of a vacation is enticing. The same expression, but in different ways. And it makes you to say a lot using fewer words instead of saying a whole lot. She made a suggestion that we should go on a vacation. Nominalization is often used in formal writing and in academic context. Formal writing and in academic context. We have, she discovered how to solve the problem. Whereas when we nominalize, becomes what? She arrived at a solution to the problem. Solve changes to what? Solution. Good. Now, precision. Normalization can make it easier to discuss abstract concepts, as it also helps to remove ambiguity. Do you know what the word ambiguity means? Okay, Words sometimes have more than one meaning. Okay? For example, the word star, SCAR, star, could mean a lot of things. I hope you know. A star in the sky, a music star, someone or a movie star, okay? Someone who is very popular, you know. Good. Now you see that it's just one word, but so many words, meanings. Now, if you do not know the meaning of that word in the context, you might make a mistake while making use of the word. But when we're making use of nominalization, it helps us to reduce the risk, the mistake of what ambiguity. It helps us to reduce the rate of confusing one word to mean this, whereas it means another. That is what I mean by what ambiguity. Is that taken? Good. Now let's see sentences with nominalized verbs and adjectives. The acceleration of the car impressed everyone. What's the word nominalized here? Acceleration, correct. So the acceleration of the car impressed everyone. Good. His constant complaining became tiresome. His constant complaining became what? Tiresome. So can you tell me what okay? You want to say something? Yes, what is tiresome? I want you to tell me what is tiresome. Yeah, when a person is worn out, right? Probably you have a toddler around, so they can wear you out with their worry, right? Good. So we have constant complaining became what? Tiresome. Good. And then is tiresome a noun or an adjective? Is an adjective. Correct. It's an adjective. Good. So we have the destruction caused by the hurricane was devastating. So what's the word there? The nominalized word there. Destruction. Correct. Destruction. So destruction is a noun gotten from what verb? Destroy or destructive, right? Correct. Destructive or destroy. Very good. Her singing was enchanting to all who listened. Her singing was enchanting to all who listened. Very good. Enchant is a verb. The moment it ends, it goes with an ing, it becomes a gerund, then can be said to be what we now. So same also with singing, right? The verb sing becomes what? Singing. Great job. So do you have any question on what we just discussed now? Any question at all? You understand what we mean by nominalization, right? If I give an exercise, do you think you can give me an answer? Okay, can you nominalize these words for me? Happy, active, yes, happy, excuse me, happy, active, yes, give me another word. I should give more, okay, annoy, annoy. Okay, let's just do these three. And then I expect that by the next class, you'll be giving me your response. Very good. So that's all. So do you have any question? Or you would want the material, then I'll send it to you after the class, if that's what you want. Great job. Thank you very much.